Good morning. Do you remember in my last couple videos I showed you how to grind wheat into flour, and then we did a video of making whole wheat bread? Well, I saved some of that dough and I put it in the freezer. So today we are going to make scones or fried bread. I don't know what you call it. In my part of the country we call them scones, but it's fried bread. I'm going to take that dough out of the freezer and let it thaw out throughout the day, and this evening we will make some scones, or as some people call it, fried bread. We have had a fun day today. I put this dough out of the refrigerator and it has been sitting here all day long. In fact, I probably could have made scones out of it 6 hours ago, but we went on a bike ride with my brother David and sister-in-law Merlene, and we went to our favorite place to get some chicken today, and so we just had a great little ride, and I am excited to see and show you. I haven't even looked at it yet. I am excited to show you what the dough looks like. Oh, it looks great. It looks just great. Yes, that looks good. We have been bike riding buddies with David and Merlene for years, and it's just a lot of fun to go out and enjoy the outdoors with them. So when she called and asked me, I'm thinking, well, I've got this bread I need to do, but I'm like, yeah, it'll keep, and it does. That's what's so wonderful about this recipe is it is so forgiving. It can be hours on, and if you can't get to it and you have to punch it down and let it rise again, it'll come back up. It's amazing bread. I have a Dutch oven here that we could do scones in, but I asked Chad to set up, I think he's in the middle of it. I asked Chad to set up a camp stove outside here for me because I really like to cook with oil outside rather than in the kitchen when I deep fry something. It's more work for Chad to have to do this, but it's a lot less work for me. And you don't mind, right?
Oh no, I don't mind at all.
Your sweat. Let me see your forehead. Oh. The recipe to make these scones is in our Griffiths cookbook, and that is available as an ebook online at griffithscookbook.com. And I use the same recipe to do my bread and my scones and bread bowls, soup bowls I mean, and it's all in the Griffiths recipe book.
And that just needs just enough to cover the bottom and then some, so I don't know if you want it floating in the oil. You don't want it touching the Dutch oven itself.
So an inch or two?
Yeah.
Just vegetable?
Yep, just regular vegetable oil.
You don't want to use olive oil. It doesn't have a high enough, I don't know, heat tolerance. It needs to be like a vegetable oil. Oh!
Yeah, danger. So you gotta be a little bit careful with the oil. You don't want it so hot that it's boiling, but you don't want it too cool because then the dough will sit there and it won't cook and brown. So you want it just prior to the boiling temperature, and it looks pretty good right now, but what I'm gonna do is on a hot pan I'll flick water on it to make sure that it's hot enough, but I'm not gonna flick oil or water in this oil. So I'm going to just take a small piece of dough, drop it in there, and just see how it reacts and how it cooks. Now, if you're cooking a lot of scones, if you're going to be cooking, 15, 20, 30 of them, you're going to want it a little bit hotter because as you throw the different scones in there, that's going to cool the temperature down, and so you want just a little bit hotter at first, and that cooking will cool it down naturally.
This is what it looks like, and I'm going to put my hand in here and it's just going to drop. And I can tell you right now, I can feel it, that it just feels really good. we're going to just cut just a little bit, just a little button, and we're going to fry that button and see if when we put it in the oil, if it rises to the top very quick. If it doesn't, we'll know that the oil is not quite hot enough.
Yeah. Okay, so
it's getting there.
It's not bad.
It's getting there. Another minute or so. Some people have thermometers. I've never used a thermometer.
Unless you're sick. Now, did you flip that over?
Not yet. I don't think it's quite hot enough.
Yeah.
But we'll...
Okay, we're going to turn the heat up on this here just a little bit. Get that going just a little bit hotter.
Okay, we're going to do one more button, and I think it's really, really close to being ready. Little bigger button. Yes, that's what we want to see.
Take a minute or so to, 30 seconds on one side, 30 seconds on the other. Okay.
About this much dough, and just it's really thin in the middle, and it doesn't even hurt if there's a little hole in the middle like that, because then the grease will get down in there and the middle will get cooked. But I personally don't like a hole in the middle because I don't like my butter to go fall through. So I like it really thin, but not a hole. So here we go.
And you want to lay that in there pretty gently so you're not splashing oil.
If you're worried that you're going to burn yourself, you can lay them. I'll do the next one with these. I'll lay it down in there with these. I've done these enough that I know how close I can get to the oil with my fingers and then let go. But ooh, you don't want to get burned. Do not cook these when you've got little kids running around the house. You need another adult helping you to cook them if you've got a bunch of little kids around. I would just feel so bad if anybody got burned. And when my kids were little, man, it was like, get out of this kitchen. I don't want anybody to get burned in here. And so they're probably all scared of scones. I don't know.
That looks really good. That looks really good. Okay, let's get 4 or 5 more going.
Cooking. When Chad was the scoutmaster, our family was in charge of a breakfast every year, and our children would help us during the night. They would get up and help us with the dough, so that the next morning we had enough dough to feed. I don't know how many scones did we need?
Oh, about 250.
Yeah. But we had a couple of these Dutch ovens going, and Bo and Ruby, Bonnie, Julie, Ellie, all of them, they were in the middle of it. I didn't make that one very pretty, did I? I got talking to you all.
Well,
you know what? It's okay.
These
it's all right.
Doesn't matter what they look like. Oh my word. It doesn't matter what they look like because they taste the same.
I know, but that's just I wanted it round. Okay.
Can't talk and lay out a scone at the same time.
No. Some people will roll them with the rolling pin. I was going to drop that with the... You can roll it out with a rolling pin.
This is a whole lot more a difficult level, trying to film, cook, and roll out all at the same time.
Yeah.
And I'd like them just a little bit crispier on the crispy side than on the doughy side.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead and lay that in there.
Okay. Doesn't this look fun? Okay, so Chad said the battery is flashing. I'm going to go in the house, replace the battery. He's going to keep cooking, and then we will come back when we get the rest of them cooked. For those of you wondering who Ruby, Bo, Bonnie, Julie, and Ellie are, I'm always assuming that you know who my kids are, but maybe you don't. Those are our children. So when I talk about Ruby, Bo, Bonnie, Julie, and Ellie, I'm talking about my kids. Chad, tell our viewers about this camp stove.
Well, it's a Camp Chef. It's probably one of the original ones, and it's about 25 to 30 years old.
Let's see if I can see that.
And it is one of my all-time favorite outdoor utensils that I've ever bought. I started off with a single burner, and then I got the double burner, but I've used this on camp outs for years and years and years, for decades.
I really like it to cook the bacon on because it keeps the grease out of my kitchen.
And we also do our canning when we're doing tomatoes or grape juice. You know, we'll do it and steam it and juice it and process it out here outside so we can keep the mess out of the kitchen.
The scones do not have to be cooked in a Dutch oven, but they have to be cooked in something that's pretty heavy, that has a good heavy bottom. Right?
Yeah, you can use a skillet, but it's just a little bit more messy because the oil splatters and it'll jump out of a skillet a lot easier than it will.
Just make sure it has a good heavy bottom. And
Yep.
when we were in Alaska, we stopped at a, what town was it?
Skagway.
Skagway, and they made what they called elephant ears.
Yeah.
And they were like
They were huge. Oh, they were bigger than my head.
And they would put
scones.
sugar and cinnamon on them.
Yep, yeah, they put butter and then cover it with honey or sugar and cinnamon.
Those
really,
are really good. So we could do that, or we could. I've got a recipe for some honey butter, or
Honey
you can
butter
just
or
put
just
straight old honey on.
butter and honey and jam. They're great for taco haystacks or
Oh, Navajo tacos.
Navajo tacos. Are really good with these scones.
Put rice, beans, and just kind of make up a thing. But you know.
Lots of different things you can do with it.
Well, we're going to go ahead and have ourselves a little late night snack. It's getting kind of late in the evening. We've already had lunch, dinner, late, I don't know what you call it, late lunch. But thank you so much for watching, and give us a thumbs up if you've enjoyed this video, if you want to see more like this video. If you don't give me a thumbs down, just a thumbs up.
And what do you call these scones or fried bread or what?
Elephant ears or
Elephant
whatever.
ears or anyway.
Yeah.
What do you guys call them?
Hey, thanks for watching. See ya. Bye-bye.
That's even better than the bread.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll try it.